So to just go over some of these concepts, patriarchy and matriarchy. Patriarchal culture is when the men are in charge, and matriarchal culture is when women are in charge. There's variations in this, and in some patriarchies, women are utterly subordinated. On the matriarchal side, there are no cultures where men are utterly subordinated. Women don't seem to behave the same way when they're in charge as men do. Patrilineal and matrilineal is, and this is pater and mater, so father and mother. In patrilineal cultures, we trace the lineage of the offspring through the male side. In matrilineal cultures, they trace it through the female, the mother side. We've talked about patrilocal, matrilocal, ambilocal, and neolocal, and this is where we live, where the new couple lives. Endogamy is in-group marriage, and exogamy is out-group marriage, and so endogamy would be where, for instance, if you're a member of a local church here in the Carolinas, you may well be expected to, and expect yourself to marry someone from within that group. And exogamy, we marry outside the group, and we may use that to reduce tensions between tribal groups, or even we can think back historically to some European marriages. Incest. Incest, all cultures, as far as I know, have some sort of incest taboo, although there's a great deal of variation in this. And so, in our culture, we believe that incest is, the prohibition we have against it is based on genetics. But the reality is that, of course, our incest taboos predate any knowledge of genetics by a very long time. And so, incest taboos aren't based on genetics. They're based on other kind of cultural understandings. And so in some cultures, it's incest to marry anybody that you're related to by blood. And other cultures, you can marry anybody on your father's side or anybody on your mother's side, but not the opposite. And of course, in some cultures, the incest taboo doesn't even extend to siblings, right? And so there's a wide variation. And just to note, there is, if Brad Pitt had a twin sister and they had children, those children would probably be so gorgeous they'd glow in the dark. Now, if they continued that kind of close breeding over multiple generations, then yeah, it would absolutely turn out bad. But incest, it's not quite as simple as probably most of us think it is, although I'm certainly not advocating for anything in particular as it relates to that. Monogamy, being one person married to another, and polygamy is a person married to multiple members of the opposite sex. Polygyny would be one man with multiple wives. Polyandry, one woman with multiple husbands. The nuclear family, which is basically what we do, which would be the parents and their children, their offspring. Extended family might be the grandparents, the parents, and their children. Obviously, we've covered sex, sexuality, and gender. Sex is XXXY, and then all those other combinations. Sexuality is the orientation or preference. I think somebody said who you want to have sex with. And then gender is that what how your culture expects you to perform, the role that you're supposed to take on in that culture. And all of these things vary from one culture to the next. There's a great deal of variation in them. And then bride price, bride service, and dowry. We talked about these as well. So anyway, I apologize for asking you to watch these awful videos. Hopefully you've at least enjoyed the dogs and cats that have been kind of roaming around the place over the last 37 hours or whatever this has been that we've been doing this. And so anyway, if any of you have any questions, please let me know. I'm hopeful that I'll feel well enough to be back in my office on Monday. And so if any of you need, if you want to come by and talk, or you want to just send me an email, then I'll do my best to answer questions or help you out in any way that I can. Hopefully you all won't stress out too much about the exams coming up. And remember that some deep breaths and some positive affirmations going into an exam are probably better than a lot of stress and worry. So get a hug before you go in for the exam, and if you need anything from me, certainly let me know, and I'll do what I can. As a reminder, our exam is scheduled in our regular classroom on Friday at 11, so we're meeting at 11 rather than 1 o'clock. And I guess that's it. I apologize for the production values, especially to Jose. I know he's probably going to need therapy after this, but anyway, thanks, and if you need anything, please let me know.